Hey, can you hear me? We are having problems. Well, I wonder how it's sounding out. Are you hearing it like sounding kind of bad to me? I wonder if it sounds bad to them. La la la, check, 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 check. I am James Hake. It does sound like that? And you are sounding like Darth Vader or something. So I don't know if this is going to fix itself, but we're having a slight problem where you can't even call in yet. So you will not be able to call in quite yet. Hang tight, guys. Are you just going to like mess with it and see if it fixes itself? All right. So this is ugly. I am James Hake. This is Sunday, November 24th, 2019. And we're a couple of minutes until the show's supposed to actually start. It sounds like it fixed itself now.
Oh, I did?
Oh, well, I don't know. Now it sounds like it fixed itself because we turned off the phones entirely. Brace your ears for when Joel turns it back on.
I muted the mic. So.
Oh, okay, cool. But, I'm not on?
No, I muted the call mic.
Oh, okay, cool. Brace yourselves because it's going to be crazy. But Joel's turning the phones back on. We're having some issues. I guess it's too cold right now. But I'm live 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time now, but it's Pacific time, whether it's Standard or Daylight Time, on Hake's channels, on Sundays, and there is a push for me to go to 2 hours on the weekdays and ditch the Sunday. What do you guys think of that idea? I don't know. Maybe I could create something else. Maybe with the move, our setup for these streams will work a little bit, will change a little bit. Nice. I think it is working. I mean, it's not blinking constantly anymore. So if you turn on the phone mics again, it sounds good?
Yep.
Cool. So we're back. Testing, Dylan, can you hear me? So bottom of the hour, I want to check the treasure chest. Open up the treasure chest. So let me open up my D Live. And I'm streaming on D Live, YouTube. Shout out, guys. Periscope, I should be. Yep. I see him on Periscope. What's up, guys, on Periscope? Facebook. I'm streaming on Facebook. Next time I know what to do to avoid your voice cracking entirely. Mute the audience mic. Yep. The caller mic. Yep. And I'm on Twitch, believe it or not. I wish that Jesse Lee Peterson were on Twitch Monday through Friday, but they think love is hate. So they call it hate speech when Jesse tells the truth in love. And I'm on mixer.com/The Hake Report, twitch.tv/The Hake Report. Thank you, Noah's Arkansas, for the support, as always. And I owe you guys like 50,000 treasure chest openings. And no chest, move along. The treasure chest, guys, is for when people are active and donating and supporting me or Jesse Lee Peterson on dlive.tv/The Hake Report or dlive.tv/Jesse Lee Peterson. And we just redistribute a little bit of the wealth. That's why we call it the Obama chest or Obama's sunken chest. It's like a pun. I don't know if anybody gets it, but it's like a pun. When you're skinny, you have a sunken chest. See, I have to pull my shoulders forward because my chest is not sunken. Right to it? Don't ask. It's pretending. So, and you can audio podcast. We have. I want to call it. I almost called it Twitch, but it's called Talk Right, which is also Talk Stream, the Talk Stream app. And let's see if I'm going on there. But anyways, I wanted to get to some news and things, but it is time for the song. We're at like 2-3 minutes past the hour because of like the technical hiccups. So let's just kick right in with the intro. Hey guys.
Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
What's up, guys? I am on TalkStream, I think, and I do see it, the Hake Report, and there is a phone number for it. That's cool. But I want to talk about what female authority looks like, because that's what's being promoted right now. It's an attack on Trump and men. So get ready.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Yeah. So, I have found it. It is the TalkStream app. Cool, huh? And then this is on the Talk. It's called TalkStream. Let me turn that down. But if I push this phone thing, oh, the phone thing isn't working. That's all right. At least I have it working. That's cool. So, this is Sunday, November 24th, 2019. And traumatized by mistakes. Live 9 a.m. Pacific time on Hake's channels. Also find Hake or Jesse Lee Peterson on the TalkStream app. And so that's cool that you don't have to use so much data when you use the TalkStream app during the live show. And hopefully they'll have like a phone number up that you can call to listen without using even any data at all, any internet at all through your phone. It's just a little side note. I have some quick news for you, and then I want to talk about these impeachment hearings. And then I heard about on Drudge this riot that went down over in UK somewhere at a movie theater. That was it was over a movie about like a gang war, specifically black gangs over in London. So it's just wild. And the guy who made this movie made an interesting point about it that I wanted to touch on, because he is acting like it's not the homes, it's the neighborhoods, it's the schoolyards. The schoolyards are rough. That's what's making these kids go bad. Which you can say that to a point. I can relate to that thinking. Like the school interactions can be traumatizing. You can get bad influences from bad friends or whatever. But that doesn't discount the home, and it actually begs the question about what goes on in the home. Why are the schoolyards so rough, my friend? Or not, he's actually not a friend. But he's actually a rapper. It sounded kind of mildly interesting, mildly creative. He raps, at least in a precursor to this movie, he narrates the story. Interesting. Kind of. And what else did I want to touch on? Oh, briefly, let me get right on this one. The 14 words, I touched on this on Friday, and I basically told you the story. On Friday, the 14 words is supposedly a white supremacist, I call it a white nationalist, white maybe ethno-nationalist phrase. And those 14 words are, and Joel showed them on the screen for you guys on Friday. Those 14 words are, it's from this whole David Lane and all that stuff. We must secure a something. Go to that one. Yeah, there you go. They call it a far right motto, right? We must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. And I find that a very tame statement. What's wrong with it? Like, very little is wrong with it. 2 words are wrong with it, I think. Yeah, 2 words are wrong with it. Our people. What's he mean by our people? And I think he means white people. And that's the only trap that he fell into, besides his anger. He was an angry person. And he was a criminal, apparently. So I didn't know where this came from, these 14 words, but I had seen it. You see in the chat, not in the chat, but in different places, 1488. And 14 refers to those 14 words, because those are 14 words. I didn't count them, but I just believe it. And there is a secondary thing about the 14 words where it says something about the beauty of the Aryan woman must not perish from the earth, something like that. And so I looked it up, and of course, like, you only find liberal sources, but okay, that's the sources that I found. Wikipedia, of course, far left source, but sometimes a lot of the information is factual. A lot of it is slanted. And then ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, which makes a living on defaming white people and pretending like they're protecting Jews when they're only increasing the bad perception of Jews. The ADL, that is, Anti-Defamation League. Supposedly for Jews, but they're really against them. So I looked it up, and this man, David Lane, was born in 1938, died in 2007 in prison. They called him a terrorist and stuff like that. He may have been, I guess. If you commit violence with a political motive, that's considered terrorism, right? And according to the story, he drove a getaway car after this Jewish radio host was shot and murdered in his own driveway, I think, by some buddies of his fellow gang members. They started this gang or organization called The Order, something like that. This David Lane guy. But I found some interesting information. I think it's kind of autobiographical information, really, or information that he told about his family life growing up. And this guy became a writer. He went to prison, became like a writer. He thought kind of deeply about all this white stuff, the attack on white people. He talked about the white genocide. I guess he was considered part of the pusher of the white genocide, what people call a conspiracy theory. Even though whatever the motives were and whoever's behind it, that's reality. That's what's happening, is white people are becoming a minority. And they call it a genocide. I guess it kind of could be. And all this push for race mixing, push on white people and accepted by white people. And according to the UN, it is even. Genocide means displacement. Oh, yeah, they go by that. They go by that definition. So he also went by this other weird name that I can't pronounce. But I found out information about him. The making of a neo-Nazi. This is from the ADL source. In an autobiographical essay, according to the ADL, if you guys know differently, then fine, but he conveys a sense of his Iowa childhood. Iowa, that's where Steve King is. Not that Steve King has anything to do with this, but he was falsely called a white supremacist too. So, dumb. But anyways, this guy, he tells about his early childhood memories, consists of a struggle over what appears to have been our only toy. Anyway, he says his father was a drunk and, quote, truly despicable creature. I actually have this excerpt. About his father being a truly despicable creature. Wow, so he hated his father, or he thought that he did, right? Allegedly prostituted his own wife, the father did, for booze money, according to this guy. And who knows who told him that, right? Because he was a kid, right? Was he aware of that? Lane says that his brother was beaten into permanent deafness, I guess by his father, I don't know. And there were also two sisters. The father eventually left when Lane was about 4. Okay, so I don't think a 4-year-old would necessarily know that his mother was being prostituted by his father. But who knows what the real story is. But this is the story that, according to ADL, he's telling about his own family. So then they went into foster care. The mother, he says, struggled to support the family as a singer in a bar. What else she was forced to do, I do not know, and I do not want to know, he says. The children were soon placed in an orphanage, and Lane was adopted by a Lutheran couple, Lutheran being a portion of Christianity. It's a denomination, I mean. My father grew up Lutheran, going to a Lutheran church. And I actually I think I know another Lutheran. Anyways, in my family, nice guy. The husband of this couple that adopted, foster cared these guys, or this guy in particular, David Lane, was a minister whom practically no one could bear, so he was unable to serve any church for a period of time, according to him. So he didn't like his real father or his foster father, the minister, and he turned way away from Christianity, as a lot of white guys are, especially a lot of the white guys who are getting into their whiteness. He went into more like pagan stuff. So much for Christianity being white supremacist, right? This guy even knows that's not true. I have a picture of him. It looks like he's in a prison yard. And so he was, a convicted felon. He started this group, the Order. He was smeared by the Southern Poverty Law Center as one of the most important, well, I don't know if you could call it smeared, described as one of the most important ideologues of contemporary white supremacy. I guess if you call it white supremacy, that would be a smear. Because I don't know if this guy thought that he was supreme. But he was, according to what is documented about him, at least in Wikipedia, right? Which you can't really say that that's necessarily true. But he had this gang where they would do racketeering. Racketeering means running a racket, meaning like making money illicitly. And they were stealing stuff and doing all kinds of stuff. And he wanted to get rid of the Zionist occupied government, meaning he blamed the Jews for this attack on white people. And maybe some of the stuff that he said was true about them. But the interesting thing is that when he had that anger, he participated in a murder allegedly. I mean, I think he was convicted as, it was weird because his conviction is called a violation of civil rights, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean. It should have been accomplice to murder, because according to the story, he drove the getaway car when his buddies shot this Jewish guy who was a radio host and killed him. So it should have been accomplice to murder. But I didn't see that. So I just notice, as a side note, that anytime a white convicts a crime in the so-called in the name of whiteness, they get the whole government bearing down on them. And so that's all the more reason why you guys shouldn't do that. So just a side note. But it was just interesting to me that his family life was all messed up, kind of like Dylan Roof's family life was all messed up. He was smart, and he coined this nice-sounding phrase, but part of the downfall was identifying with whiteness rather than what's right. Because if he was for what's right, he wouldn't have done a lot of the things that he alleged, at least according to the stories, did. And it sounded like he identified with his mother as opposed to his father, or as opposed to with what's right, because he seemed to feel sorry for his mother and all that stuff. Just so interesting, so common nowadays, too. And he was hailed, and they did this big old funeral type thing for him around the country. The pro-white people did, and it's just crazy. The murder took place in 1984, and he died incarcerated. He got like 100, approaching 200 years of prison for the things that he was convicted of doing. So it's just interesting to me. Reminds me, like I said, of Jesse Lee Peterson's The Antidote book. His book, The Antidote. Because Jesse's book, he writes, I think he wrote even a little bit about Dylan Storm Roof. But he wrote about Trayvon Martin. He wrote about Nelson. I think he touched on Nelson Mandela. He talked about Malcolm X. He talked about Stanley Tukey Williams, whatever, one of the co-founders of the Crips. He talked about all these guys, a bunch of these guys. And it makes you understand kind of what went wrong with them, why they're so evil. Because these guys are evil. Obama, he wrote about Obama, how Obama hated his mother, identified with his mother, and then also tried to fake identify with the fakeness aspects of his father, who was all into the blackness and against whites. And he was a Muslim turned atheist, I think, his father was. What a mess, huh? At least his alleged father. Some of you guys think that his real father was some other guy, Marcus Garvey or something like that. Yeah, it's a mess. So that's basically all I wanted to say about this guy, about the 14 words. The part of the problem with the 14 words, like I said, is the our people. It's just like when Jesse's accused of talking bad about his people. When you're talking about blacks, if you're for what's right, you'll be mostly effectively for white people, but you'll be for all people, really. You're not going to be anti-white. And you'll see a lot of people like that. So it's just, it makes me amend my statement to that guy, donning armor. Not this in particular, but Jesse's point about if you identify with what's right as opposed to what's right, you're going to be thinking you're for what's right, when in reality it's going to go awry somehow or another, because it's not on a solid foundation of what's right. When I said to donning armor, I said, oh, there's nothing wrong with white ethno-nationalism. I think if we were all for what's right, it would effectively become a white majority country. But if you're for this ethno-nationalism stuff, you get guys like this that are smart, put things in a reasonable sounding way, but then ultimately it's so corrupt. So let me get to a caller or two, and then I want to talk about the more aspects of of this female mind, because that guy evidently had a female mind, but I have it even worse, even more obviously female mind. Tom Hanks is Mr. Rogers. Disgusting. I'm going to get to that. But let me get to some callers. Jason out of Orange County, I believe California, or maybe Florida.
Correct.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
What's up?
Hey, how you doing, James?
Doing
What's up,
fine.
man? How you doing?
Great. What's up?
No, just real quick, wanted to ask a quick question. These past couple of weeks, you've been your show has been really good. You've been on fire, as Jesse says. And I just wanted to ask how you feel about like people looking up to you, because I kind of look up to you because I see a lot of strength in you, and I'm not trying to be silly or anything. I really mean it. I look up to the kind of person that you are, and how you stand up for what's right. And it's hard because we've all been brainwashed all our lives, and I just see a lot of like things that I can look up to in you.
Well, man, I think that people tend to fill in the blanks about people, and so you think more highly than you should about a person. And so I don't necessarily, I mean, I appreciate it, but just I recommend agree with me where I'm right. Don't get overexcited about me or anybody else, and just always be like pushing for what's right, and just that's basically all I could say. I appreciate it, but there's the real strength is in how people really are, how people are under pressure, how people are in their daily lives. And that's not always reflected in like a public persona, me touting true opinions, right? That's not always reflected in that. So it's more important to be for what's right, and always like, kind of like what Jesse says is pray without ceasing, pray always, and be aware and alert, because the devil will sneak up and get you or me or anybody else by things that you're not really paying attention to. And I talk a lot about like politics and stuff, and sometimes I talk about the spiritual stuff that I agree with Jesse about, or that he makes that is so interesting to me. But that's not necessarily gonna do anything for you, because you have to live it yourself, and each person is gonna have their own challenges, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, you're just a good person to kind of look up to.
No person is good.
This is just my opinion.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest, James.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. Maybe I don't. It's nice, I guess. It's nice when people like you or respect you. It's also helpful when people attack you, because sometimes they do say true things, and some of those are the most interesting things. When I read the YouTube comments that are negative, or the callers who are attacking whatever. Actually, the YouTube commenters are more honest than the hater callers. But
do you want followers? Do you personally want followers?
I mean, I think I should. I definitely should. I kind of want them, yeah.
Yeah.
But, for me, it's like, this is an interesting venture, because it's not something I thought about doing before it was really like Jesse's idea. And there are a lot of things that I want to say to get off my chest, or some point I want to make to just, like I said, get off my chest, to put it out there. And so that's a great opportunity. I appreciate it. And it's important to have followers in order to make it worthwhile, make money and things like that. I like money. I'm all about money. I'm quoting. I'm paraphrasing Ben Shapiro. But yeah, I do. It's interesting because, like, I'm going about this differently from how others do it, because one, I'm part of Jesse Lee Peterson's network, and I'm on, like, I have Joel here running the board, where I see other guys just running their own show, but they're not able to take calls. So there's like pluses and minuses, where I have not, because I'm able to take calls, I've not learned to bring in people on Discord, for example. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a different route than other people are taking. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you ask about the followers?
Oh, no, I'm just wondering, because I know it can be overwhelming, and the way you answered makes it seem like people shouldn't follow you, which is fine.
Yeah, I don't want.
You have to understand that
when I say followers,
you're gonna have. Go ahead.
When I say followers, I mean like subscribers. But when you say followers, you mean people like following me like I'm a leader or something. And you're right, I don't want that.
Well, when you have a radio show or a show like yours, you have to accept that you are going to have people that like you. And
that's true. There's gonna be people that look at you as though you're their leader or something. That is true.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that like these past couple of weeks, I just see a lot of growth in you. You're just on fire, dude. Just the things you say, the points you make, It just like blows my mind.
Cool, Jason. Thanks, man.
Yeah, dude.
You ever come up to church? You come to church?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
been able to go because of work.
Oh, I see. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, right on, man. How old are you, by the way?
See you. I'm 29.
Okay. Cool.
I'll see you guys soon at church once my work schedule clears up. I'll remind you.
All right. Take care, Jason.
All right, James. Take care.
Bye. So, I'm gonna open the treasure chest at 8:30. No, 9:30 Pacific Standard Time. All right, guys, 3 minutes. Get ready. Okay? Assuming I remember, right? I should build up the chest a little bit. So, let me tell you about Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers. I saw this, and I didn't see the movie, right? I just saw this being advertised. Drudge has covered it a few times, and the pictures, the photographs are just shocking to me. But Tom Hanks, look at that. Ugh, that is awful. Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers, to me, is disgusting. Like, he makes Mr. Rogers look bad to me. And Mr. Rogers, I was always like kind of indifferent on. I liked watching the show. I especially liked the puppets. I felt that he was more boring, but he did have some good moral points, moral of the story type points. When I grew up watching Mr. Rogers, Sesame Street, all these things. Sesame Street has gone corrupt too, by the way. And his real name was Fred Rogers, right? And you would see some memes going around like Fred Rogers was really a Marine, and he always wore those sweaters because he had tattoos all up and down his arms, and he wanted to be classy. And I don't know if any of that's true, but he was like nice, quiet, soft-spoken, and wanted people to like get along and be neighbors, right? But this to me is they're pushing this movie called A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, right? And it's about this Mr. Rogers getting like covered by this journalist, and all journalists are liberal, practically, right? Practically all. And it's so no doubt a liberal journalist whose life is probably kind of a mess. And then Mr. Rogers is like this wisdom guy. It's so shallow and wannabe real, and it's not. I haven't read these links from Drudge, Mr. Rogers and the Dark Abyss of the Adult Soul. But it's interesting that they cast Tom Hanks to be Mr. Rogers. But to me, I see this as an attack on real men like Trump, especially Trump. I see it as an attack on Trump. Who's with me on this? Because Trump is like the opposite of Mr. Rogers in that he's sometimes vulgar, he sometimes cusses, he doesn't mind offending people, he's entertaining. He is more entertaining than Mr. Rogers, let's be honest. He tells the harsh truth, he tells the harsh reality. And this is even an even worse, softer, more beta caricature of Mr. Rogers than the real Mr. Rogers was, I think. And so I think it's an attack on normal masculinity. That's just how I see it. It's really gross. And Tom Hanks has, I used to kind of respect him as an actor. Not that I'm an actor. Respect him. See, there's the real Mr. Rogers. He looks a little bit more normal. But Tom Hanks has come out basically liberal, right? Like on multiple occasions, he's outed himself as worse and worse and worse. And so that's another turnoff with these guys. I'm not for separating the person from the character, because I don't want to support something like that. A person who's outwardly liberal. That's why with this Taylor Swift versus Scooter Braun thing, I know that Scooter Braun is like a liberal, right? But I take his side over Taylor Swift's side. Because she's become more and more outwardly nasty and liberal. And so she's lost a fan, kind of. I was vaguely a fan of hers. Her songs are catchy, right? So, I want to talk just briefly about this impeaching. Oh, shoot. It's past 8:30. Did I just do that? Okay. I'm going to open the treasure chest. No chest. Move along. It's open. No, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna give you guys 30 seconds to get there because I'm opening it now, but I'm gonna click it later because there's a slight delay. Look at that. Yeah, I think that's the one. So the one on the right is fact, and the one on the left is fiction, right? Or are they both fiction? I don't know, but I feel that it's just bad. Clicking the chest now. Click the chest, guys. Start clicking the chest. Well, it's probably too late by the time you hear me say that. So, it's just awful. And do you want to give your impression of this, Joel?
It's like I'm looking at this right here, and if you see the two photos, see Mr. Rogers. I didn't watch Mr. Rogers that much growing up.
Right.
I mean, I just kind of heard of him, but I don't know like how his character was on the show. But it just looked kind of like how he's all smiley, jolly, probably look a little cheesy,
Right.
like he's full of quote unquote wisdom. But then you look at Tom Hanks' character, he doesn't look depressed, disturbed, like something's just off.
Yeah.
And even on the photos where he tries to look smiley,
Yeah.
it still seems a little bit dark.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't give me the same portrayal of this character.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's kind of casting him as if he has like a sadness inside.
Right.
But it's not very. It's kind of transparent sadness, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
The real deal.
Tom Hanks' character looks depressed, Joel says. Disturbed. Tom Hanks looks disturbed. And that's true. And then in the poster for it, they casted it in this cold light and all that stuff. So,
Right.
Yep. Awful. What a shame. And then he's like holding in his elbows and knees together like he's a girl almost. And that's not exactly how the real Mr.
Right.
Rogers was. I mean, he
Right.
was a little bit like that, but he wasn't like all woman. But Tom
Right.
Hanks is like all woman.
Like over pushing the character.
Yeah. So awful. So the luckiest followers, we open the chest. Noah's Arkansas, well-deserved Noah's Arkansas. Super Dave, well-deserved Super Dave. High Plains Drifter, Toxic Chat, and Bubs Love. What's up, guys? Right on. Appreciate you guys. That's the D Live crew. Let me open up my restream because I want to say hi to the people on Facebook. Assuming that Facebook is working, it does look like it is. Mixer, Twitch, and of course Periscope. Nobody expects Tom Hanks to throw you from a bridge. Oh gosh, yikes. Hank, you need to start over. I just got here. Did he just call you Jim Jones, Test Monkey 13A? No, I don't think he's following me like that. I don't think, referring to the fan who looks up to me, Jason down in OC. So let me just say what's up to the people on Facebook. Well, actually, let me get down to Mike in San Diego. Mike, out of San Diego, how are you?
Yeah, James, I'm here. How are you, bro? I'm good.
Doing fine. Nice to hear from you.
Good. I know. No man's good.
True.
Hey, what's up, bro? So I got an interesting call for you, I think. Maybe it'll be fun. I want to tell you what I think, like give you my impression of Jesse and you.
Okay.
Okay, so have you noticed how black people, I heard somebody else say this, and I think they're 100% right. Black people seem to be all about status over almost anything else. And that's why they'll wear gold chains, and they're all flashy, and they're just bougie. And even though their life might be a wreck, if they look great and they got a brand new pair of sneakers on, they feel great.
That's even the case when blacks are into education. You'll notice they tout that they're educated and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. Or if they go to church, they're praising Jesus.
Yeah.
They're going crazy because they love full of the Spirit. And, like, that's how they are.
Yeah.
So they want to come across as though they are educated and spiritual and rich and strong and sexy, and just the status matters the most to them.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesse, my impression of him is that he has had a pretty profound type of enlightenment experience of one sort or another, and I think it came in his life through pain. So he was hurt real bad by his mother and his upbringing with his family. And then he also had a real kind of a tragic experience with a child out of wedlock situation. He was sad. He was missing his kid. And he was going through all sorts of existential dread as a young man in his early adulthood. And he found at the deep, dark bottom of that spot forgiveness. And when he forgave the people who hurt him the most and the people who were causing him the most pain, he found like a release and a new perspective, like his eyes opened on the world in a new way that gave him a powerful type of new vision. And you and I have seen that he has that. Like he sees things beyond how everybody else seems to see it, because everybody else is kind of wrapped up in their ego. And he broke free from it to a degree that makes him powerful. And so I love him. Like that, it's so authentic and real, that perspective he has. So the thing is, though, I think with Jesse, my impression of him is, though, that still about 80% of what he does is still that status thing. I think and that's why, like, so we're tying together 20% of him, maybe. I'm just guessing on the percentage, but it's like he is this enlightened dude who has things figured out and had an awakening, and it's awesome, and he sees things different than almost anybody I've ever heard. And he still, like, loves dunking on people to seem like the boss. That's why he likes to say, beta. And if he can't dunk on you, he'll just kick you out of the conversation, or he'll end it, he'll wrap it up, he'll be like, I'm done with you. But if he finds somebody who really is weak and he can dunk on him hard and be the big boss, he loves that person the most because he loves the status. And so I think that's what his whole show seems to me to be. And then with regard to the Bible and stuff, I mean, we can tell he doesn't really believe in the Bible.
So you think that he's like that?
I'm just telling my impression.
That's your impression. Interesting. Yeah, I don't see it that way at all as far as that. When he's calling people beta, I see him as being playful. I'm just going to give you feedback on that part, because sounded like you're moving on to a secondary point.
I would just keep going about me in a way.
I see him when he's shouting beta. It's funny to everybody else. And then when you're the one called beta, it's like the pain of truth hitting you. If you realize that he is telling the truth, because sometimes people don't realize it. For example, this moving out of your mama's house, a lot of these guys don't get it yet. But I see it as just him just being honest with people. And then this, I don't see him as being into dunking on people. I really don't see him that way. I think that he just effectively does that, but that's not his aim. He's not trying to make anybody look stupid. I don't think he tries to make people look stupid. I think he, though, enjoys... Look, it's not like he's being cruel or trying to build himself up by making people look bad, but I think that's what he loves about Trump, too. Trump is sort of that same kind of thing, and he's all about status, right? He's Trump Hotel. There's something that happens where when I'm just cutting you off, sorry, but not sorry,
no worries.
But when he hangs up on a person or he kicks him out or whatever, it's either A, they're not communicating, which is a point that's tough for some people to grasp. I think that you know what I'm talking about. When somebody won't answer the question that he's asking, they'll try to jump around and answer the point that they think is important rather than the question that he's asking. It's so interesting when that happens too. So that's one of the reasons that he'll hang up with somebody. Or two, if they're just pushing something that he's just plain not interested in dealing with at the moment. For example, like, there's all these people that are into things that he doesn't know a lot about, and they'll just rail on those things, and he just loses interest. So I don't see it as when he can't dunk on somebody, he'll drop them. I don't see it that way at all.
Well, yeah, it's not that all the time for sure, but I don't know. Well, maybe you'll see it and maybe you won't. But now that I've brought that to light, maybe you'll notice it in other certain circumstances, because it's not all the time. Like sometimes, like you said, some people are chasing their own tail, or they're just running from the question he's asking them, or they're not even in the same conversation. But then sometimes people have a perspective that he can't really engage with yet, and he doesn't seem genuinely curious about learning something he doesn't know.
Right.
It's almost
He's
like
not.
he'll be like, he's like, I don't know that, so bye.
Right.
I only want to talk about what I know.
Yeah.
And I guess that's fine. It's,
that part is true. He's not interested. I mean, he's not an intellectual, and a lot of this stuff is intellectual. And for two, he just doesn't know, can't verify, and he doesn't like to speculate or things like that for the most part. And so it comes off as...
Pivot real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say it comes off as conspiracy theory, where when I say conspiracy theory is something where you jump to a conclusion that you don't know for sure. Circumstantial evidence may seem like, you could reasonably assume that, but you don't know it for sure. That's where he goes blank too. He's not interested.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting too, because he likes to ask people if they're conspiracy theorists, and then they get into the whole thing of the origins of the conspiracy theories term, which is kind of a slur. And
I totally am a conspiracy theorist. If you ask me that, I'd just say yes.
A lot of his fans are. And he used to rib. There was another guy who used to come on the show a lot who was kind of a conspiracy theorist. And I think that there's the people on the right are typically the ones losing on their issues. And the people who lose end up being kind of conspiracy theorists. And you've seen it. You've seen the left go conspiracy theorist because Trump started winning. And they go this Russia thing. They go this... the whole impeachment thing is based on a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, that's true.
So losers end up being...
Those are just weak ones, though. They're just making up theories on the fly.
Right.
But there's other things that are just documented over decades, and you can look into them and find out, this was an actual conspiracy that happened.
Yeah. True, man.
But it's hard to tell the difference.
Anyway, Mike.
Hey, before we go, could we pivot, and I'll give you my quick impression of his reply about the gropers.
Yeah, real fast. Go for it.
Check it out. I just thought it would. What do you think about this? So he said Nick Fuentes needs to move out of his mama's house, and the gropers shouldn't be showing up at those colleges and doing what they're doing, because they're not politicians. You can show up to a politician and do that, but not at a private event. Well, two replies on that I would have given is that, well, first of all, these events are at state-funded schools.
Yeah.
So they're not private schools. These are schools that the state is paying for kids to go to school, and then somebody's showing up to our basically state-funded education facilities and grafting them into this political movement. So, and then it was an open invitation to everybody to come there and answer questions.
Yeah.
And ask them.
I think it's more of a spiritual thing that he's commenting on, as opposed to some of the factual stuff. Because some of the factual stuff, they factually have a right to show up at the Q&As. But I just got word that Jesse Lee Peterson had an amazing upbringing. And so he said that you need to stay off the pot. You don't know him at all.
I don't know.
Because which sounds about right, because he's always talking about lessons that he learned growing up and things like that. It was, in fact, he wasn't even aware that his mother had done him wrong until he woke up and he saw himself for the first time, and he realized that he resented his mother. He didn't even know that he resented his mother. So that's an interesting point.
The way I heard the story was that there was at one point that Jesse was crying out to God and saying, help me see myself. And then he got shown that he had a dark spirit on him, and it got placed on him by his mother, essentially. Or I might be jumping details, but it was something related to his parents.
Yeah, he definitely
mother.
realized that he resented his mother. Yep. Anyway,
Yeah.
Mike, I gotta cut you off because I have so many callers I want to get to. But
Nice talking to you, bro.
yeah, you
Have
as
a
well.
Great day.
All right, take
See you
care,
later.
Mike. Yeah, he makes an interesting point about like these groypers. Like, there's a lot of things, these people that are going into the Q&As at these events. Like, let's say Jesse has the mistaken impression that they're imposing on private events when they've been basically indicated that they're not welcome. Let's say he's wrong about that detail. Look at how people are overreacting to it. I think I already made this point, really. But the people, a lot of these groypers are going, oh, he's a Zionist shill. He's taking the side of TPUSA, which is not even close to the case. But that's just how blind people are, that they'll make assumptions about you the first time that you say something wrong. And to me, I love that because that is a test of your patience, of your unity, of your of how much are you really about what's right, and stuff like that. Dylan's making me laugh. Sal out of Denver. What's up? Colorado, I think. Sal.
Yeah, oh, yeah, you know. How's it going? I want to tell you, I agree with you 150% about Tom Hanks looking creepy and not fitting at all of Reverend Fred Rogers.
He was a reverend?
I'd seen him. Yeah. Huh?
I did not know that.
Like Jesse, he doesn't make a big fuss about it because that's not important.
You're right.
Right? So I remember I'd seen an interview with Michael Keaton, who was he worked on the Mr. Rogers show in the early 70s, and I didn't realize that Mr. Rogers was in Vietnam and he had to kill people in conflict and stuff like that.
Is that true?
We need to, yes.
Wow.
To the best of my knowledge, it is.
Yeah.
I believe his son had said something about that. I can't remember Fred Rogers, one of his son's names, who talked about it, I don't know, a couple of years ago.
I wonder if they're involved in this movie.
No, they have to be. They have to have given the thumbs up on it for the state and everything like that. So the answer is yes. So I don't know who would have been a better Mr. Rogers, but someone certainly could have done better than Tom Hanks. He seems like he's kind of half Forrest Gump in this stuff, and I'm
right.
It's like, what's Forrest Gump doing playing Mr. Rogers?
That's an interesting point, man. Yeah, I'm grossed out by this.
I would like to say something about the anniversary of the John F. Kennedy assassination, because people don't know this.
Okay.
And though they try to cover it up a lot, there's a book by James H. Fetzer that's from Moonrock Books about Kennedy, and the person there were 6 people that were set up to try and kill President Kennedy, but the guy who delivered the shot that did it was Frank Sturgis. And there's no information about that except in Fetzer's book and some other places. Frank Sturgis was known in the early 70s for having something to do with crap with Watergate or something like that. And I really do believe that this is so. And we need to remember that the government are the parties that came up with the term conspiracy theory after the Kennedy assassination. So we all have the right to observe and see what we think is best. And, we need to learn. If we can't learn from the things we do and what we know, then we can't do better for ourselves, our families, our friends.
I appreciate that, Sal. Thank you, man.
Thank you. It's been a good show, man. I've been really enjoying it.
Appreciate it.
See you all on Monday.
All right. By the way, do you catch church? Oh, he hung up. Sal, do you catch church with Jesse Lee Peterson? You can answer it yourself. Maybe I'll see you in there. Robert out of Kansas. Long time no hear. Robert, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? I can see that you have not been going to the gym. And
what do you mean? Never mind.
I want to know how tall are you, Hake?
5'9" and a quarter, or 3/4.
You're 5'9"?
Yeah.
I thought you were like over 6 foot, man.
No, I'm not.
How tall is Joel? Is he tall?
Yeah, he's pretty tall. I think he's 6'3", something like that. Give or take a
Oh,
few.
wow. Okay, Joel's the tall one, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, he's tall.
All right, man.
6'1".
Okay, I thought you were like 6'4", Hake, and I'm like, man, this guy needs to go to the gym. He needs. I will donate however much to get a gym membership for Hake.
Nice.
But
No, I already have two. I have two. It's just a matter of
but you're
getting
only
them.
5'9", so I'm. It's not as important now.
Oh, okay. Interesting. You would think that you would cut a tall person more slack for being kind of lanky because they still have that tall person strength because it's hard for them to like bulk up sometimes. But a shorter person who's skinny, that's really weak.
Well, I'm not calling you weak, Hake.
I appreciate it.
I'm just messing with you, man. You look great. You look a lot better if you start going with Jesse, though.
Yeah.
Hey, man. The reason it says our people in the 14 words has to do with the current world government we're under, where you have white nations, all white nations pretty much, being invaded by Muslims, being invaded by non-whites, being invaded by anything but white people, right? White people aren't invading Asian countries or black countries or whatever.
Yeah.
Not right now, anyway.
Right.
So there's a reason why it says our people, because white nations are under attack from the United Nations and world government. So the reason for that is to say that we are being invaded. It's not about they don't dislike Asians and blacks.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that identifying with our people means that they dislike other people. I'm just saying that when you identify with the whiteness, because they're attacking you as white people, right? They're attacking us as white people.
Yeah, the government specifically attacking white people. That's
right.
The point of it. They're the races that are identifying race as the object to be destroyed, the white race to be genocided. So they have identified it based on race. The world government has. So it's
that's
not
why
us identifying race as the problem. It's them saying that race is the apex of the issue, and the thing that must be destroyed is the white race. That's their overall mission. So it is about race based on what they are doing, not about what we are saying. By them invading and destroying white nations systematically, not just one or two.
I know.
We're talking Europe, the United States, Canada, Australia. Every single white nation is being invaded.
But listen, Robert, the point is to identify with what's right as opposed to with what's right, as opposed to with what's white, because these people are shallow and they're sucking you into their shallowness by making you identify with the race because they're attacking the race. But they're not at root. They're not just attacking the race. They're attacking the thing that stands in the way of their evil ends. And the thing that stands in the way of their evil ends are mostly whites, because whites tend to be Christians and decent people, logical. They don't fall for their crap. They tend to be. It's about you shouldn't identify with what your enemy calls you, because the enemy is calling you white people. And so but that's not your identity. That's just what you happen to be in this life. And yes, you should follow certain aspects of that, but you should identify with what's right. That's what my point about saying our people is.
Okay, Hake, I understand what you're saying, but do you see that they are attacking men and they are attacking whites? Do you see that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's a reason for it, and it has to do. These people are Satanists. That's their religion.
I know.
And so what they attack is the image of God, and the image of God is not a black woman. Okay, it's a white man, and so it's deeper than just the race. It has to do with spirituality. It's your soul. It's who you are.
All right, man. I don't see that identifying with the white thing is helpful, because look at what happened with this guy. He died in prison, and allegedly he participated in a murder. And so that's just where I see he went wrong. Because the temptation is, you see the attack on white people, you identify with the white people, but you should identify with what's right. And then by identifying with what's right, you're going to defend white people the right way.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as what I can see from an objective point of view whenever I look at what's happening. They're attacking Christians that actually believe like in fundamental Christendom where, you don't want to let gays, parade on the street. They're attacking men, basically all men, no matter what race you are. If you're an actual man, a masculine man who is straight and who wants to, be right, they're attacking you. You could be black as the night. If you're a good man, they don't like you either. Right. And then they're attacking whites specifically. So if you're a white woman, if you're a white child, if you're white, you don't have to be a man. It has to do with your entire race.
I know.
Okay, so they're attacking these things specifically. I'm not deciding any of this, Hake. This is what I'm seeing.
I know, but you're saying that the image of God is a white man. That's where you lose me. But
do you think it's? I mean, it's somebody.
I don't think that it's a black woman. I'm not saying that.
Well, somebody's the image of God, and the satanic world government seems to hate that. They hate all human beings, right? They hate a black woman too. But a black woman, like you said, doesn't stand in the way of world government.
Yeah.
So it is about getting rid of human leadership, period. And human leadership has, first of all, to do with men and primarily white men in terms of human leadership. If you want to bring in
Robert, man, I got to cut you off. I'm sorry. Let's talk again. I'm not sorry, but I have to cut you off and move on to the next one. Take care, Robert.
Have a good day, Hake. Bye.
You too. Dylan out of Florida, first-time caller. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, Hake?
Going fine.
To talk to you, man.
Good to hear from you.
So I have a little question for church, and it kind of connects with the incel guest you had.
Okay.
And so basically, how do you know what the Bible means? And I'll use something Jesse says for an example. So Jesse the other day, he was saying how work is really good for you, right?
Yeah.
And it's really easy to intellectually understand that, but some people will take that and they'll like, okay, I'm going to go work to get a girlfriend, right? Kind of like the incel guy.
Yeah, true.
And they'll put their own meaning into it instead of letting it be revealed to them, like kind of like how Joel was talking about that.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted to see if you could ask that at church possibly. Or maybe even have Jesse ask it if that's possible. But
you know what? That is such a good point because people reference the Bible all the time, assuming that they know what it means. And they'll say, oh, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, the Word was God, and then the Word became flesh. And from that, they think that means Jesus is God. And they also talk about that's what the Bible is, the Word of God, when that doesn't even reference the Bible there, to be honest. But you make such a good point. And they reference where Paul talked about the wretched man that he is, and what he does what he doesn't want to do, but what he hates he does. They take that to mean that you continue to sin when it explicitly says you don't continue to sin. But they just
exactly.
Yeah, there's so many instances of that, which is why reading the Bible isn't gonna, like, atheists read the Bible and they're still blind. So
and I think that's one reason why it's really important to, if it's not revealed to you,
to
kind of just leave it as a question mark, honestly.
That makes a lot of sense, Dylan. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, you guys have a good day. I appreciate you guys.
All right, take care, dude.
Thank you.
All right. Anomic says 2 hours or no more super chats. You must negotiate with T words in the chat. What's that mean? Appreciate that, Anomic. D. Martin III, happy Thanksgiving, James. Thank you, D. Martin III. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I think we are going to be streaming on Thanksgiving. Anomic, don't put that lady with the Cybertruck jawline on the screen. It's making me sick. That's referring to that woman, Fiona Hill. Looks like Frankenstein. Looks like she looks kind of like my sister, but a mean, decrepit, darker one. Like, she used to be pretty, but then she turned evil, this woman. Made in Texas. What's up, Hank? Thank you. Synchronicity Bear. Thank you. Anomic getting a Cybertruck putting powered by coal bumper sticker to troll people. I'm calling it my meme truck. 3 times thicker steel to plow down Antifa. Whoa. Scott Matthew. Good morning, James in chat. Mari Ubaldo says, good morning, James. It was nice talking to you. Here's more donations to Bon. Happy holidays to the JLP family. Thank you, Mari. Springtime, go men go. Got your 6. That means she's supporting you, men. Thank you, Springtime. Economic. Last one. Give JLP this $4.99 to give him a piece of sweet potato pie on me. Happy Thanksgiving. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you. LT Copter. Hake, YouTube gave me some free super chats. Enjoy the money. Thank you. I think I messed it up. LOL Copter. I said IT Copter. I think it's LOL Copter. Bond Building Fund. Thank you. LOL Copter. LT Copter. Some more free money. Thank you. I'm saying LT. LOL Copter. And one more to the Building Fund. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Made in Texas. Skip is a Jew. Aha. Economic. Drudge is a child of the lie now. Try the Liberty Daily. Thank you. Made in Texas. Blacks feel some type of way. Gay. Whoa. And then Dre Tokes says, great job, Hake. Thank you, man. I think that's about it. Let's see. Let me just shout out to the D Live people. And then we'll get ready for church, guys. Noah's Arkansas, smoking on it. Bubs Love, thank you, guys. High Plains Drifter, Super Dave. Iconoclast with K's. Chaos Weaver, Toxic Chat, Neon Hot Tea, sounds scary. And Long Jong, Jhong. Long Jong. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you for the lemons, ice cream, diamonds, ninjaginis, ninjets, and of course the YouTube super chats. And shout out to the faithful people at Periscope and Facebook. Stay off the pot, Nick Solari says. And Mixer, Steel C, thank you, man. And of course, twitch.tv/ the Hake Report. Bulldog 1992. Hey man, what's your favorite Christmas movie? Hello. I'm trying to talk to him. And Dogwood says, I don't think he really reads this chat. Yeah, man, sorry. I missed it. What's my favorite Christmas movie? It used to be maybe Ernest. No. The Muppet Christmas Carol. That's a pretty good Christmas movie, I guess. All right, guys. We'll see you in church with Jesse Lee Peterson in 55 minutes or so. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Bond Rebuilding the Man on YouTube and Facebook. 8 Crazy Nights is Joel's favorite, which I don't know if that's... I'm almost scared to even mention it. All right, guys. Take care.